Hey folks, Jesse here from Onion Grass Gardens, and today I'm going to be talking about the environmental factors of why I've chosen to do a food forest. And the two main things I'm going to be looking at are the weather and the soil here in East Tennessee, because as it turns out, those are a huge factor in how I need to garden. So let's get to it. The first thing I want to talk about is the weather. And in doing so, I also want to take a little issue with the term temperate. We supposedly have a temperate climate here. The word temperate means mild. And yeah, maybe in comparison to the Sahara Desert, or maybe in comparison to the Antarctica, I suppose our climate is mild. But let me tell you a little bit about what's been going on in the last couple months. In February, our temperatures ranged between -5 and 68 degrees Fahrenheit. We had freezing pipes. We've had windstorms. We have had perfect days bordering on shorts and t-shirt weather. And the extremes between temperatures and weather types have been amazing, between the hard freezes and torrential downpours and perfect, beautiful sunny days like today. That's just like the extremes are really surprising for a supposedly temperate climate. Wind gusts, sideways rain, standing water. This is temperate. What you are looking at here is the remnants of our soft shed. It's made from really tough canvas. At the last wind event we had, it had started to tear, and we had 60-mile-an-hour winds last night, and it got finished off. But this right here is the reason that even if I had $10,000 to spend on a polytunnel, I probably wouldn't. What you're looking at here is the remnants of my greenhouse, and its contents got scattered in both directions across our lawn. We had wind gusts up to 60 miles an hour last night, and normally they would be coming from that direction, which is why we tied this up on this side of the porch to shore it up. But last night they came from that direction. That would be east, and just absolutely wrecked this. The chives are okay though, so that's important. I am here in the food forest after this wind event, and the one that ripped up my little shed. And you can see here, I've got solo cups and pots from my little greenhouse just sort of scattered everywhere. I'm probably going to be picking these out of the forest for years. And they blew in opposite directions. Last night the wind was whipping back and forth, so we have all these little pots scattered all over the place here, both east and west from the greenhouse. More scattered greenhouse stuff. We get tornadoes, flooding, freezing, scorching hot muggy days, And the plants here have to be really hardy in order to survive. And I think that a food forest really helps with that, because planting all of the plants closely together in guilds around fruit trees, for example, where you might have a fruit tree and a berry bush and some deep rooted plants and some nitrogen fixers, and they're all there together. They can actually help support each other against the weather that we have. And they can provide literal support as far as structure from the trees and bushes. We get really high winds here. In the last month, we have had 2 events with 60-mile-an-hour winds, and another event where a tornado was just south of us and we got 80-mile-an-hour winds. So the ability for plants to very literally hold up is important for me. Hey, have you liked and subscribed? You just gotta, push the button. There's a thumbs up. There's a little dingly bell. That'd be cool. You just push the button. Let's switch gears for a moment and talk about the soil here in East Tennessee. And look at it. You can even see how red that clay is right there. You can see there's very little organic matter to it. It's very dense and clay-like. This is what we are working with here, right next to my little apricot guild. And this is what the soil looks like throughout the whole yard. Now let's talk about soil for a minute. The soil here is a pretty heavy clay-like soil, and while it does drain, there isn't a lot of organic matter, and it does take a day or two to fully drain off. And what that means as far as choosing a till or no-till system, if you want to till the soil here, you have to wait a couple days after it rains in order to do so. Well, here in Tennessee, sometimes it'll rain every 3 days, and it takes 2 to 3 days for the soil to drain. Otherwise, it gums up your machinery like paste. And so really using a tilling system doesn't always work well with the weather here. And so aside from the fact that I'm trying to build soil with my food forest by putting down mulch, and I'll be fertilizing with some compost teas and doing chop and drops to help add the organic matter for drainage in my soil, I think that's going to work a whole lot better than tilling. Tilling does not add organic matter to the soil. It doesn't help with drainage. And quite honestly, the weather sometimes makes it impossible to even do, because if it rains every 3rd day for a month, then that's a month that I don't get to till, because my rototiller will just get completely gummed up by the clay in the soil. Now you can see here that I have mulched this. Hey Lily, that this is mulched. And I'm really hoping that with our weather extremes that we have, 70-degree temperature swings in a single month, that this mulch will also help to insulate and protect the plants that I'm putting in here. You can see I've got a little rhubarb over there. There's some natural dead nettle coming up around my little apricot. I've got a few onion sprouts over there, but I'm hoping that in planting these guilds that the mulching and the addition of organic matter will also help protect all these plants that honestly have struggled in the last few years. This little apricot has not seen a lot of growth, and I think that's largely because it wasn't retaining enough water and because it didn't have a lot of protection. So I'm hoping that these plants that I'm starting to put in here will help protect and support one another. Hey, thanks for joining me today in this video. In conclusion, I'd have to say I think I have a lot of compelling reasons to change my gardening system over into a food forest system. And I hope you'll stick with me and like and subscribe and follow along as I convert my food forest and property. And I can't wait to show you some of the things that I'm planting. So stay tuned and thanks for joining me.